Hello to my viewers, this is Valerie Guillaume coming to you once again with another video exposing human rights abuse in Canada, human rights violations, and I am going to take the time to talk about the persecution that I am going through, the amount of efforts that being put into violating my human rights by Canadian government officials, its courts, and this is not new. I have made numerous videos in regards to this situation, but I'm here today to expose really one of the human rights violations that Canada is guilty of, which is to try to force me to become homeless. Now, Canada, as one of the member states in regards to many of the United Nations human rights treaties, has been openly violating those human rights treaties, particularly those ones under the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, which has a lot of protection for people who are vulnerable or who are facing homelessness and things like that. It has openly violated that treaty. In my case, this government, and I'm talking right now about its local government at the municipal level. I am living in Ontario, the province of Ontario, in the regional municipality of Peel, and that local government has been carrying out human rights abuse against me, trying to force me on the street, trying to carry out unlawful relocation, trying to force me out of a shelter that I'm currently staying at because it's corrupt employees, because the municipality is a corporation, so you have all of these employees working for the corporation, like Aileen Baird, who is the director of Shelter Support and Housing, Christiane Commons and her managers, Leslie Maru, Claire A. All of these people have conspired to block the services to me as a resident of the shelter, and also to carry out an unlawful eviction of me by trying to relocate me outside of the region of Peel. They managed to get an eviction order against me because I was not able to attend a hearing on May 2nd. And the judge, Stuart J., decided even before the hearing, and I've mentioned this in a previous video, that she was going to proceed with the hearing. And so she proceeded with the hearing and granted them the eviction order. However, I filed an appeal and I got a stay of the order. So I'm still there, but they now want to try to go back to court and have the court lift the stay on the eviction order, which they're trying to do at this point. What I'm trying to make the public aware of is that this local government, the regional municipality of Peel, has the same obligation as the federal government, which signed those human rights treaties, not to force homelessness on anyone else. And the reason why they're doing this should really be a cause of concern to the public, because 4 days after I got an injunction from Justice Andre in the Superior Court of Justice preventing a landlord, Park Property Management, from renting out an apartment that they had promised to rent to me, and so that's a breach of contract right there. And so that's what I'm proceeding in the court against them. 4 days after Christiane Commons became aware of that injunction order, she issued a notice for me to leave the shelter, relocate out of her region, and block me from all of the shelters in the region of Peel, just so that she could interfere with that legal proceeding, because she doesn't want to see me get the housing. She also ended the subsidy that I got for that particular apartment, the portable subsidy. And so she did everything in her power to prevent me from getting the adequate housing that I'm supposed to be getting. Okay, now they've taken it another step further in trying to lift the stay that I put on the order that granted them the eviction by Stuart J. I need to come before the public. I've made a couple of other videos in regards to this matter, but something else is happening where the court itself, I'm going to mention the names of the people in the court. And so, sorry, I wear glasses. This is the manager of the court, the regional court, Superior Court of Justice in Brampton, which is part of the Regional Municipality of Peel. Tanya McFarlane, Ramona Sukhedo. Ramona Sukhedo is the team leader for the court, and Tanya McFarlane is the supervisor. And they've both blocked my materials from being filed in the court. Now, I've tried 3 times to file those documents. This is a response to the motion that the Regional Municipality of Peel filed in the Divisional Court in Brampton, asking the court for direction and also trying to make a case that the stay order, the stay and the certificate of stay that I got for against the eviction order, staying that eviction order does not apply. So I replied in my reply motion. And first she served me hers on May 20th, and I responded and I replied with my reply motion. The court would not accept my reply motion, telling me that even though Jennifer Bruce, the lawyer for the Region of Peel, had served me on May 20th, she did not file it in the court, so I could not file it. However, we had a case conference before Justice Trimble on June 9th, where she was trying to pull some shortcuts, right? Such as trying to have that argument heard at the case conference, and I had to say no. She served me a motion with a date to be set by the registrar or the court, so it should go to a hearing. So the judge agreed, and so she had to reserve me her motion, and I now have been trying since that time to file my reply motion, my reply factum, and the motion record that goes with it. I filed it, Justice Trimble gave me until June 25th. I filed it at 12:30 p.m. on June 25th, and it was rejected by the court. It was rejected by those persons, Ramona Sukhedo and Tanya McFarlane, that they could not read the email address for the lawyers for the respondents. So they ordered me to amend it and to resubmit it. They also wanted me to sign my signature on the factum, which I usually don't do. My name is on there, but really, I never really file a signature, my literal signature on a factum. So I amended it. They wanted the case laws to be hyperlinked. I did that. And then I resubmitted it on July 4th. And they contacted me yesterday. We're not accepting your documents because it's now late. Now we have a hearing date coming up for July 11th. So on July 4th, it's exactly 5 days before the hearing, which you're allowed to submit your materials 5 days before the hearing. And so they rejected it, saying that I did not do an affidavit of service. Well, it was late in the day when I was submitting those documents, and the reason for that is that I had spent hours at the Mississauga Community Legal Clinic trying to get their assistance in helping me with this legal proceeding. I want to mention the corruption of Sharon Crowe, who is the legal director of the community, Mississauga Community Legal. I want her fired. One of the things she told me was that she wanted me to withdraw my appeal. And she took the side of the respondents. Now, if I'd hired her personally, I would have fired her 10 times over. But because she's paid by legal aid, she was throwing out all of these, her opinions on how to proceed. And none of them was in my best interest. And none of them was in the public's best interest as far as what the clinic is supposed to do in assisting someone who is facing eviction. So my personal opinion of Sharon Crowe in regards to the situation, first of all, she declined now assisting me, which is why my document was filed on July 4th, because for 3 weeks, right after my case conference with Justice Trimble, I contacted that legal clinic and said I need a lawyer to assist me for 3 weeks, each Friday 3 times. Or we can't make a decision now. Finally, the week prior to July 4th, which I think was around the end of June somewhere, I had a meeting with her and another lawyer there, Alana Nguyen. Both of them, I'm taking them before the International Criminal Court as far as conspiring with the Canadian government to carry out human rights abuse against me, because that's what they did. So they withdraw their services on July 4th. So I was in a meeting with them from 1 o'clock to I think 4:30, which caused me to file my documents late because I thought they were going to assist me all this time, and then they withdrew their support. So the week prior to that, they said, but we can only do a partial retainer where we will contact the respondents, Beale Region, and the landlord, Kevin Cork, who is the lawyer for the landlord Park Regional Property. And so after her interactions with those lawyers, she now had the meeting with me on July 4th, and she now decided she wanted me to do this and that, and I'm listening to her. And with my experience with the law, doing my own legal research, being familiar, everything she was telling me was total BS, okay? And I could not believe that she was trying to openly side with the respondents. Imagine having a lawyer who's supposed to represent you and she's openly taking the side of the respondents. You know, you must withdraw your appeal, and how would you now afford the apartment? And she's kind of alluding also, she pretty much alluded that the respondent, Park Property Management, even though there's an injunction order preventing them from renting out the apartment, did go ahead and rent the apartment. And I said to her, if that was the case, then they're in contempt of the court order, because I had to stay on that court order even though it was lifted, because I wasn't able to attend that hearing as well. So there was a hearing on May 1st and May 2nd, which I was not able to attend because I was on medical leave. Nevertheless, I got stays for both orders. Then she wanted to kind of imply that Kevin Cork is going to also bring up his argument why the stay should also be lifted on his boss, his client's order, which was to lift the injunction against renting the place. First of all, based on what she was saying, it seemed to suggest that he already went against the order and rent out the apartment. Second of all, Kevin Cork, unlike Jennifer Bruce, who was representing the region of Peel, did not file a motion, did not serve me any motion to have the court address his stay order. So I advise Sharon Crowe, who is the director of Mississauga Community Legal Clinic, that I would not entertain Kevin Cork bringing up the issue of another judge, which is Justice McFarlane order on July 11th, because he should have filed a motion and bring that issue. And Justice Trimble had mentioned that both appeals should be joined together. So he could have brought his motion, and both he and Jennifer Bruce deal with their motion, but he's piggybacking off Jennifer Bruce's motion. So if you think he's going to show up on July 11th and discuss his stay order from Justice McSweeney's order, I'm not having it. So the biggest hurdle that I'm facing right now is the corruption of the court staff, who is openly blocking my documents from being filed, because I had to go and do my own legal research, and I had to put everything in my reply motion, my factum, to counter Jennifer Bruce's argument in regards to the certificate of stay. How dare these court staff try to prevent my reply motion from going before the court, from being seen by the judge, because the judge looks at everything before the hearing. So this is the third time that they have blocked me from having my reply motion filed with the court. This same reply motion to Jennifer Bruce's motion asking the court for direction, and also asking the court to lift the stay. So I had to go and do my own legal research, find my own case laws, put it in my reply motion, put it in my factum, and the court is blocking it from being filed in the court. So I was at the court today up at Brampton, and I said to the clerk that I'm just now going to have to file an urgent motion to get them to accept my document, because Justice Trimble made that the hearing was preemptory on July 11th, and I can't get my documents filed because I'm being blocked in the court. And these documents were filed, uploaded to the Divisional Court case portal on July 4th, which is 5 days before the hearing, so the court could have accepted it. I wasn't able to send my affidavit of service because, as I said, I was held up in my meeting with the legal clinic. What the end of it caused me to be in this mess, because they kept delaying giving me a response, delaying giving me a final decision on whether or not they're going to represent me or not. This is a service I'm entitled to. I'm entitled to it because it's stated under the law that if you face an eviction, you're entitled to legal representation. If you cannot financially afford a lawyer, you can get that representation through legal aid. Now, the legal clinic is obviously paid by Legal Aid Ontario. This woman is so corrupt, Jennifer Crowe. She, I believe, conspired with the Region of Peel, which is the local Canadian government, their lawyer, Jennifer Bruce, to carry out this human rights abuse against me, where obviously I will be facing irreparable harm if she gets what she wants, and to have the court lift the stay on the eviction order from the shelter. Shelter is a basic human rights under Article 25 of the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. Under the International Covenant on Human Rights, International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, I think it's Article 11. Housing is also a big issue. What Christian Commons, and when I mentioned these things to Sharon Crowe and Alana Nijuyan, or however you pronounce her name, because they're working together, they're colluded together, along with the Region and Municipality of Peel, that they're now trying to prevent me from getting the services of the shelter. This is what I looked at as committing crimes against humanity against me. Cruel, degrading, unusual treatment under the Rome Statute, and torture.